Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Today I'm going to be doing the next 3 stages of the Deagostini Collectibles release and build the RB19 Max Verstappen's Red Bull Formula 1 car. I couldn't understand why I've got 4 magazines, and it appears that the brochure which we normally get in the first pack has actually come in the second pack, so I'm going to show you that in a second. Now if you do want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description and there's also a QR code on the screen. Let me just show you this brochure. This is the car that we're building. As you can see, this opens out again so you can see how big this actually is. 27.6 inches or 70 centimeters in length, 1/8 scale, and it's 9.8 inches or 25 centimeters high. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Steering wheel and instruments, chassis, super detailing, rear wing and diffuser. This is pretty much everything that the car is coming with. And I did show this off in the last video, which if you haven't seen the first video in the series, I've put a link up there. But we've got 3 stages today. Obviously, this is what we did in the first video. And we also had the metal halo, but we haven't had to do anything with that at the moment. But we're going to jump into it. But before we do that, I have a merch on the map. Okay, today's merch on the map is absolutely brilliant for 2 reasons. One, it's probably the closest merch on the map. Not as close as Mrs. World Away wearing a shirt and just being in a bedroom. But Gary, who's wearing the Let's Get Cracking shirt here, lives in Corby. So this is less than half a mile away from my house. I could probably walk to his house actually. I've actually visited Gary as well. So hi Gary, nice to meet you and your family. But thank you for submitting your photo, Gary. I'm hoping you really do like me putting it on the channel here. I know you didn't know I was putting it on today, but I had to do that. It looks absolutely brilliant. Now, if you want to be participating in merch on the map yourself, now is probably the best time to do it because there is a sale on my Dashery store at the moment. I think it's up to 40% off for the next 2 days. But what I've done is I've put a link to my Dashery store here, and over here, if you just email me the picture and I'll make sure that that appears on merch on the map. Anyway, we're going to get onto it now, so without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, so stage 3. Here is the magazine, looking just like this. And we are going to be creating our first wheel here. So we're putting all of this together here. Doesn't look like we need to soak this in water. So this should be quite a quick stage to actually put this in and create our first wheel. Now, obviously, wheels on F1 cars are colour-coded. So this means we're building a soft tyre. Is the tyre soft though? Who knows? But that's what it looks like in the pack. Let's get this open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting this into the centre here. And I'm hoping that I can get it in because I'm not softening this up. And it is a little bit hard, but as you can see, I've managed it without any water. If you are struggling, then yeah, take my advice. I would just soak this for a little bit. But as you can see, I don't think we're going to need that here. I'm just getting it around the lip on the inside here. And you know you've got it in the right way because this lip here is holding that tyre in. And that's what it looks like from that side. Now, I need to align 2 parts of the inner rim here, which I've got these 2 parts here. And basically, I'm going to be lining up this section here with the hole just on that side. So this is going to be going on just like that there. It's held in with 2 of these A screws. So one there and just one on that side. And then I'm just going to be putting this onto the inner section just there. So it's sitting nice and flush. If I show you on the top camera, that's how it's looking when it's all the way through there. And then basically just on this side here, I've got this ring just to put into the lugs either side and push that in. No glue, that's going to hold itself no problems at all. And we have created our first soft wheel. Okay, in stage 4, here is the instructions. And as you can see here, we're now going to be doing the front suspension. So things are going to start getting a little bit fiddly now, I reckon. Putting all of this together just like this. So at the end, that's how it's looking. Again, this comes presented in a box like that. Later on in the build, these are just going to come into packs. But as you can see, it's all laid out perfect for us here. Again, best way to open it is to try and open it down, just like that. So that when we actually take the bottom out and put our hand in it, parts aren't going to go flying off all over the place. Now, I like this. I've never seen anything like this before. We're going to be making the brake vent by using this metal here. The way this goes, check this out, is I'm going to be putting that in there, revolving it all the way around the outside, making sure that that doesn't fall out. So what I'm going to have to do is, when that's in, just bend that up a touch, just like that. So then I can wrap this around, get the other side in here. There you go. So that looks like that. Very clever. I'm then going to be putting this on the other side here. And it just clips in. That's looking brilliant. And then on top of that, I've got this metal disc here, which has got adhesive on the back of it. And I need to line this up perfectly with the edge here. Just like that. There you go. Excellent. Put that to one side. And I now have this section, this metal section. Now, the way we're putting these together is this section here is going to go through this gap here, and it's going to be attaching to this section just here like that. It's going to be a little bit fiddly, but I am putting a screw down the top to keep that into place. Notice I haven't mounted this to this section yet. So once I'm happy it's lined up, I'll get this screw in. I have put some oil on it because we are going into metal. Perfect. And that one is now in place. Take another A screw, and this time I'm going to be putting this one in with this sort of end section pointing off to my left. So again, that's going to go through this part here, just on the left, so that it can appear on this side just here. A little bit fiddly. Once again, get that screw in there. Perfect. So now that is how that's looking there. And then I get to line this up on this side, just like that. Now it's basically telling you in the instructions to use A screws for all of these. Now I've used A screws that were labelled A for these ones here. Now the rest are B, and then we've got C here as well. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out one of these screws here that I put in. I want to have a look at that screw. Okay, the fact that this screw has got threads which are spaced out means that this is a plastic screw. It's not a metal screw, so I shouldn't have been putting that screw in there. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to replace that with a C screw, because the instructions are wrong here. They're saying use A screws. I don't think it's an A screw, but we are going into metal here. That's why I'd rather use a metal screw. So I'm going to put a C screw in here. And I'm going to replace the other one as well. I am hoping that's right. I've got no idea, but there we go. That's in there. Which means when I put this on here now, because this is plastic, I can now use these plastic screws, which are the A screws. So I'll put the C screws into that section. I'm putting the A screw into this section here. And I know that's definitely right because this is the only plastic screw that's given to us in this stage. That's perfect, which means I've only got B screws left. And what we're going to be doing is taking these two sections. Once again, this is metal here. I'm going to put this through here, just like that. This is the hub inner. And the holes on this are going to go into those two holes just in the middle there, just like that there. And that's when I'm going to be using these B screws. So just the process of the elimination there about what screws we're actually using. But it's going in perfectly, so I'm guessing I've got that right. And there you go, with that in place and the disc, that's all there is to do in that stage. So the last stage of this pack, which is stage 5, here's the instructions. And as you can see, we've now got more of the left front suspension here. We're going to be building onto what we've just created there. So by the end of it, that's how it's looking. And this is what I mean about now, they're starting to come in packs, so they're going to look like this. And I'll get this open. 2 screws this time, we've got D and A screws. So first section I'm going to take looks just like this. I want it this way round again, so this is coming towards my left. As a matter of fact, there's a little L on it. I want that to be facing up. I want that to go through this slot just here. Then I want to take this section here, and I want the fin part here facing away from me. So this is going to go in this way, and this is going to go on top, just between the black section and the silver section. And what we've done is we've lined up the hole to go all the way through here. So I'm going to be getting a D screw, long screw this one. This is a metal screw, so I'm dropping this into a little bit of oil, and I'm going to start screwing this in so that it's going to hold all of these parts together. So that I've done the top one, that's held together. I'm just going to wiggle around the bottom one now to make sure that one's in. That one's in there as well, and then just screw that in. Perfect. And that is how that is now looking. Okay, I've got this detail in the bag here. Now this can only actually go in one way. It's this side that I want to slot through here. And you know you've got the right side because it should fit flat once you've got this in. So that is in just like that there. Now on this side now we're going to be working on, I've got some brake disc cowling here with the hard rock decaling on it. Going to have it this way round. And it's fitting into the 2 holes just here. So I need to put this, probably best on the top camera, round like this to line up these 2 lugs on the inside. Which it's just fed itself into there. It's lined up perfectly. Holding them in with A screws. So 1 there and 1 here. Perfect. So now that's looking like that. Then I want the brake plate here. Looking like that. That's going to go on top of here, and I'm going to be putting this onto the lugs just into the silver section there. So they're all coming through. The lip part is around the top. This part here is down the bottom. It can only let you put it in one way anyway, because if you look again on the top camera, these are large. This one here is small. Then I want to take the disc this way round, where we can see 9 holes, and put that over the top here. So it's just a case of rotating this round into position and then pushing that in. It should clip in, so it's going to hold itself in, no problems at all, but it can still turn. And then I've got the hub here, which just goes on the top. Make sure that's flat and then push that in. And there you go. With that in place, that's really impressive how that's gone together. Very detailed as well. That's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. You see, this is why I make these videos, because if I spot mistakes before you can, and I know this has just come out now, then obviously, hopefully, I've stopped you making mistakes as well. So on that stage 3, obviously, it's listed all the screws to use as A. I'm hoping that my video is broken down to what screws to actually use. Make sure you use those A screws in the second part of that, not the first part. But it is looking pretty cool, as you can see. We have created this hub section here. And obviously we created our first wheel. Once again, if you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description. There's also that QR code on the screen. But I really hope you like that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.